Welcome to season 4 of Caroline Rena and the Ride of My Life podcast and blog. And this season is going to include my story and how I ended up taking this journey and different suggestions by way of my continuing my healing journey, mind, body, and soul, and being able to find peace and self-love and to expand my life more and express myself more, and then share that with you so you have some choices and ways to see what resonates with you. So welcome, and I'm glad you're here. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me on the Ride of My Life podcast. A lot of things going on right now. I have a few things happening that I'm kind of steadily looking at, working on, and sharing. I have my story, which is related to something called parental alienation or family bond obstruction, whatever you want to call that. There's many different names for it, and I'll get into that at some point soon. There is the grief information that I want to share because I'd like people to start to understand more what it is, and that's something that I used in my healing journey. The grief work, forgiveness work, that sort of thing. And also I'm doing like my physical healing at the same time. So there's a lot of things happening. And what I wanted to talk about today, it was kind of interesting. I was on the phone with a friend of mine who introduced me to the physical healing piece of it, the redox signaling molecules. I've done a couple of posts on that already. I had a talk with Diane, who I was on the phone with, and Maya, and we introduced to you what redox signaling molecules is. Then I did an introduction on it, and then yesterday I posted my first week, which has been incredible. I mean, some changes are not quite obvious yet because most of my biggest things are with my skin. And with the skin, it takes about 28 days for your cells in your skin to recycle. So I've got some things happening, and I'm working diligently to keep up with using the product, and I'm sharing, and I already feel more energy. Less soreness, less stiffness, all that kind of thing. But that's not what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to share something that came up in this conversation that I had with Diane. Most of my life, people, when I was a kid, even as a young adult, as a teenager, there's so much. People talk about bullying all the time, and hurt people hurt people. So when that happens, it's like when we feel hurt, we're going to lash out at other people. And what I want to talk to you about is the opposite of that. But this is important for you to know, because I'm sure all of us have had an experience of bullying at least once in our lifetime. You know, we could have been popular in high school. That was not the case with me. I like to hang out with everybody. And I had my moments just like everybody else did anyway. But there are kids out there, and I shared a video on LinkedIn that showed, you know, what happens when parents who are showing their children how to behave uh, in the ways that they're behaving. And children, I've learned over the years that children don't follow what we tell them to do, but they do watch us and they do learn from us in that respect. So bullies learn to be bullies from bullying parents, and that's out there. It's not something I like to watch, deal with, or whatever, but it does exist. But it has like this, what do you call it, like a domino effect. And what's so sad is that these children are learning how to be this way. And so we, as, well, I want to say human beings, whatever, we tend to take all of this bullying and all of these comments that people make, deep inside of ourselves, inside of our souls. And it's very, very difficult to break free from that. If you're not resilient or have done your healing work, you can take it in and start to believe that about yourself. And then, there were times in my life when people say, oh my God, you did this so great. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Now I have come to the point where I can actually say thank you, because now I can take that in. But it took me a long time to do that. And what I felt was so important was this conversation I had today, and then I'll kind of go into it a little bit more. Diane said something to me that no one has ever said to me before. And it actually took me by surprise, and I don't think about myself that way, because it's just something I do, when I meet up with people in the store, the cashiers, or, when I drive through gates at where I live in Florida, and I drive for Lyft, so I pick people up and I see people at the gates and the gate guards, and I'm always like, hey, how you doing? Whatever. And it seems to brighten people's day when I do that, but I don't like plan it. I don't think about it. I just do it. And I've learned a while ago that and you do this with children too, it's like, just be happy to see that person, and it will brighten their day. And I know this about myself. Well, I happened to have Diane on the phone with me in the car at the time. We were talking about the whole, with the redox signaling stuff. And I asked her, hold on a second, because I was going through the gate. And I did my normal thing. I said something to the gate guard. And when I got through the gate, she said, oh my God, you're like a breath of sunshine. And I'm like, what? So, and I said, thank you. It took me a second, because I just wasn't paying attention to it, and we started talking about that. And when we talked about it, we were saying that, when we get told over and over and over and over again that we're not good enough, or that we're bad people, or I was told I was a bad mother, things like that, it starts to gnaw at you, and it starts to make you stop believing in yourself when you're constantly being told that. And then, like I said, when someone comes up and they say something nice, you're like, well, you don't believe that anymore. You don't believe that about yourself. Your self-esteem drops from all of the berating throughout your life, and you just kind of push it away. So what I want to talk about today is, this is so impromptu. I didn't even think about it. I didn't really have anything to share for this podcast. But this just popped in, and it just made me feel like we need to hear this, deep down inside, there's a truth about us. And when we come across people that we really connect with, that's our truth, connecting with them. And that's what we see in them is who we are. So one of the things that would help so much in this world would be when you recognize something about someone that is beautiful or powerfully positive, like I'm a sunshine, you know. Let them know that in the moment. Diane told me that in the moment. And it really took me aback because I'm not used to hearing that all the time. You know, people say it quite often, but I don't hear it a lot. It's like often when I say quite often, it's been over, a period of years. I've heard it, quite a few times, but it's not like consistent. And I notice that when I recognize something in somebody else and I say something to the gate guard, oh my gosh, you look glowing today, or you're doing such a great job, or whatever, and thank you for being here. It changes the energy of people need to hear that. And instead of doing what we are consistently doing on Facebook, we're out there and other social media. I'm not talking bad about Facebook, I'm just saying all social media, in particular Facebook, because that's where I spend a lot of time. We're constantly bashing everything, and then we even constantly, there are people out there who bash themselves, and that's not helpful. We have such a degree of not good enough in people, especially, well, I can't speak for other countries, but in the US, for sure, there's so much energy around not feeling good enough. And then when someone bashes you and makes you feel even worse, then you kind of crawl inside yourself and you don't know what to do. So telling people something, everyone has something you can say to them that will help boost their energy, boost their feeling good about themselves. What is wrong with doing that with people? Instead of constantly saying, oh, well, you're this or you're this, and I'm better than you, and look at me, and and people don't necessarily have to say that. They just present that way. They just come, they're out there, and there was a perfect example. Same situation. I was coming through the gate, and there was a bunch of, and I am the last person to be what's the word, to not like other people of other cultures, or skin color or whatever. I mean, that's not my thing. And there was a Black man who is not generally at the gate, and he was such a nice person. And this was on Halloween, and about 6 or 7 young, I want to say early 20s, maybe they could have been in their teens, I don't know, probably more than likely they were in their teens, these white teenagers. And I didn't hear him say this, but I heard the first word. I didn't hear the whole thing. And they yelled out to him, "Go home, you effing N." And I was like, and he heard the N part. I didn't hear that part. I heard the effing part. And I was like, what just happened? He said what they said. And he used this eloquent word, and I can't remember what the word is right now, but he said that, I'm not working here anymore. I can't do this with it, and I'm like, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. What was the point of that? There's no point behind that. If it made them feel better, there's still no point. That just means that they don't have self-esteem. So they take it out on somebody else and bully this guy. And I was like, no, that's not how life is supposed to work. We're supposed to be here supporting each other, not hurting each other. And I have already said, hurt people hurt people. And when that happens, the whole world goes crazy, and we're all hurting each other in some way. And my thing on this planet is to, be a support for people, and help people walk through things like grief, and learning about their inner child and how to connect with them and regain that self-esteem that they lost somewhere along the road, and all that stuff. When that kind of stuff happens, it's painful to me, I guess maybe because of the empath or the highly sensitive thing, but I don't like watching people hurt other people. It hurts me. And so by telling somebody, just try it, because you're going to get more in saying something nice about somebody than in saying something mean about somebody. It might make you feel good for a minute, but then you're still going to feel like you still don't have the self-esteem in yourself to not say that. So would you rather heal yourself and not feel that way and not say those things? Or would you rather, and then feel better about yourself, or would you rather just be in this constant cycle of feeling like crap about yourself and then making someone else feel like crap so you can feel better? I mean, that's just how things are working now. And it's not feasible to peace within ourselves. It's not feasible to, or it doesn't recognize our truth within ourselves. It doesn't show up as love within ourselves. And it's very hard to find that self-love when we're constantly in that space. And I did it myself when I was when I was in high school. I felt so, there were times where I felt so negative about myself. No, it wasn't high school. I think it was elementary school. I think it was in sixth grade. And there was this, I remember there was this girl there, and she was having a really hard time. And I think might have been in high school too, because I still felt the same way in high school. I don't feel like I had a lot of self-esteem. And, I mean, I wouldn't say anything that was ugly and whatever, like these kids did with this guy. But I remember a couple of times where when I wasn't feeling good about myself, I would just pick on them. And I don't remember words that I said exactly. But I would pick on them, and then I would feel better. And then I would, about an hour or so later, I thought about it, and then I felt like crap because I saw the look on their face. And I learned, unfortunately, that was not a great learning experience, or it was a good learning experience. It just wasn't a great thing to do, to find out to not do it. But there was so much pain in the faces of the few people that I did that with. And then when I finally recognized that, I was like, I can't do that. And then, of course, I went to the other extreme where I try to do everything for everybody, and did it so well that I started to neglect myself. So the pendulum tends to swing, up, and then it goes over here. And then at some point it's got to come in and center itself in the middle. Right. So I feel like it's important for us to know and understand that we don't know what's going on in somebody's life. And if you add more pain to them, anything could go on. There's so many more people committing suicide now. And that could have been something that somebody said to them that just tilted it, caused it, and just said they can't take it anymore, and that's not fair. Or something that happened that was instigated, or it's usually somebody saying something. That's the way it kind of feels like with me. But we don't need to have those things happen anymore. We need to take a look at ourselves and see where we can put some kind of positivity out into the world, where even if it's only a smile, even if it's only opening the door for somebody, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. These people who work in grocery stores, I've done it. These people well, we don't have people pumping gas anymore, but I've even done that. And it's, I've mentioned I drive for Lyft, and I am purposefully kind to people, and I get so much more in return. I can't even tell you. I mean, it's like, I love this job, and it may not be permanent, obviously, because that's just not how that type of job works. But I'm experiencing so much joy in just connecting with people and being kind. And I'm not saying being nice. I've done an article about being nice. Sometimes people will walk all over you. There's a difference between being nice and being kind. That's something I can, share again at some point. But when you're kind, then the world is kind back. And it starts with us. And these are some things that I've learned over the years. And I did have to do a lot of healing work to get to that point, because I thought everyone, because of the experiences I had, I thought everyone, for the most part, was never going to be kind to me. And that's not true. And when you get an opportunity, if you get an opportunity to just say something nice to somebody, say it in that moment. And it's such a little thing, but it's so meaningful. And I think, for the rest of the day, who knows, that person, you just saved them from hurting the next person that came in the line, and they got this beautiful thing that came to them from you. And then now they're smiling at other people and they're helping other people. And if we had that, oh my gosh, what could possibly go wrong with that when people switch because they've been treated nicely, kindly? It's just a thought. It's something I wanted to talk about. Again, I didn't really have a lot to bring to the table today. I will have some more stuff coming up next week, but I just wanted to share that because, as I change and grow and heal and share, I can be that person. And and my self-esteem has been going like through the roof lately. I mean, I've been smiling at everything. So going through this and walking through this and being supported walking through this healing journey has been a blessing for me. And I just wanted to share that because it might be, try it, see what happens. I'm not telling you, if you don't believe me, that's fine, but it can't hurt to try, right? So I think that should do it. I really I don't know what else to talk about at this point, but I think that one way to make the world a better place is to start with you and be who you want people to be for you, and I think we could do something with that. So hope you got something out of this, and I really appreciate you stopping by, and I think that should do it. So take care and have a great day or night wherever you are. Thank you for coming along with me on this journey. More to come. Peace.